Groundbreaking for an $18.2 million West Bridge signals the start of long-term transformation for the city. Dominica joins 170 countries to sign the COP21 Paris Agreement on climate change, and protecting the marine life could mean economic possibilities for Dominica. I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details coming up. First stop in the news, Prime Minister Skerrit says the construction of a new West Bridge in Roseau is just the beginning of a much bigger project to transform and modernize the city within 6 years. A groundbreaking ceremony was held Friday afternoon for the two-lane bridge costing $18.2 million. The project will also cover rebuilding of St. Johnson's Avenue and the retaining wall there, as well as dredging of the Roseau River between the EC Low Black and West Bridge. Mr. Skerrit says this new project is not being funded through additional taxes, but by utilizing resources drawn from the Economic Citizenship Program. He called on those who would tear down Dominica to cease and desist from such activities. The new bridge is what Dominica deserves, he said, and what Roseau requires. Senator Miriam Blanchard, who is now the Minister for Public Works and Ports, said this project would combine enhanced safety and architectural beauty. She expects this will be a safe and modern bridge, and together with the accompanying infrastructure will mitigate the effects of flooding in the city. Work on this project should start in May and last a year. Blanchard spoke of plans for a more robust and resilient network of roads and bridges in the country. In other news now, the Prime Minister met the family of the late Franklin Barron at the State House conference room on Friday, where the body of Dominica's first Chief Minister was lying in state. Speaking to reporters outside, Mr. Skerrit said life was too short for individuals to spend it fighting each other. He said there may be room for disagreement, but it can be done in a more respectful manner.
There must be a more reasoned manner in which we can engage ourselves in the country. Fighting and insulting and cursing and maiming and destroying and black eyeing our country, these things are not going to help in any way. They're not going to help in any way. What we have to do is that let us work together. Where there are positives, let us build on them. Where there are weaknesses, where there are concerns, where there are shortcomings of the government or any one of us in society, let us point them out and in a respectful manner and make recommendations on how we can change course. Everything can be wrong in this country. We cannot say that nothing is happening in the country. There are things happening in the country. But, let us point those things out. But if we give people an impression that Dominica is a worse place to come to do business or to reside, then what kind of message are we sending to our children and to those persons who wish to come to Dominica and who rely on information from Dominica? So my hope and prayer is that our country we can really look at life differently. We have life, but it's not ours.
His Excellency President Charles Savre and Mrs. Savre, as well as members of Cabinet, also paid their respects. And Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Health has recognized not only Mr. Barron's contribution to political life in Dominica, but the influence his involvement has had on his children, some of whom are involved in active politics.
His children have also been involved in the political life of this country, and not just directly in the politics, but in terms of the governance of the country. Presently, for example, we have his daughter, Honorable Fri22ndApril2k16News, who is also a member of Cabinet, and it tells me that with himself, he paved the way for not just himself, but also for the children to play a role in the development of the country, politically and otherwise.
And leader of the parliamentary opposition, Lennox Linton, says Frank Barron's death is a sad loss for Dominica, but he lived a full life. Besides being Dominica's first Chief Minister, Frank Barron served in the private sector with distinction. Linton says Mr. Barron had a purpose-driven life, which was an example to others, particularly in the way he pursued excellence. Mr. Linton says what he remembers most about Mr. Barron is the quality of his writing, which came from his pen in his later years.
His capacity to turn phrases very elegantly, he did that very well. And of course his commentary was the commentary of a consummate patriot who loved his country, who wanted to see what was best for his country. And in fact, in one of the last speeches he did in latter years, called on Dominicans to save their country. So he was definitely a patriot at heart. He definitely did his time doing well for his country, and nobody could ask for more.
In other stories now, Dominica has joined 170 countries to sign the COP21 Paris Agreement on climate change, and the next step is for Cabinet to ratify it.
Environment Minister Dr. Kenneth Daru was among 60 heads of state to sign the document at Friday's ceremony at the United Nations headquarters. Several world leaders and high-ranking government officials addressed the opening ceremony in New York. The event set a record for the most countries to sign an international agreement on one day. Countries now will have to adopt strategies to adapt to climate change. There's a commitment to raise $100 billion between now and 2020 to finance mitigation and adaptation measures. The agreement has been described as an historic climate deal, as over 196 countries said yes to do their part to decrease the emission of gases to 2% Celsius. Dr. Daru says he is optimistic that Dominica's signature on the document will attract tangible aid to enable government to take steps to lessen the impact of climate change.
A lot of times we had to take loans to reconstruct after these events. Events, as I said, that we had very little in doing in promoting the whole issue of our in terms of our fossil fuel consumption and our forest cover. Dominica is 2-foot forest cover. So we're hoping, as I said, that something positive can come out of this. And of course, the ratification process will come a bit later, which is a little more lengthy process, because the more lengthy process can translate into really meaningful things on the ground, the public. Because yes, while the discussions are nice and all of these and agreements, but what and you would have heard the Minister of Finance, Prime Minister, say that this needs to be translated into actual projects, or the river defense walls that need to be built, the sea defense wall, the cliff stabilizations, etc.
The United States of America is one of the biggest contributors to pollution globally. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says the U.S. looks forward to formally approving the agreement this year.
The power of this agreement is what it is going to do to unleash the private sector, and it is already doing to set in pace the global economy on a new path for smart, responsible, sustainable development. Already last year, my friends, renewable energy investment was at an all-time high, nearly $330 billion. And it is predicted that we will invest tens of trillions of dollars by the middle of this century. For the first time in history, despite the low prices of oil, coal, and gas, more of the world's money was spent fostering renewable energy technologies than on new fossil fuel plants.
A high-level meeting on implementation of the climate change agreement followed the ceremony. Idona John Baptist, Channel 5 News.
And while there are concerns about the dangers posed to commuters by the Odalis Road, plans which were already in place to address the problem had to be altered because of Tropical Storm Erica. As a result, there's been significant delay in moving forward with improved access for the people of the Southeast.
There has been much discussion really on the way forward for the Odalis Road. I can tell you that we are very much concerned as parliamentarians and as pedestrians and persons who pass there on a day-to-day basis. We can realize that the road is really in a very dangerous state. Presently, I know that the consultants and engineers are looking at the best possible areas that can be accessed for the development of access into the Southeast. But I'm very much concerned, and the people of the Southeast are much concerned. All I would like them to do is to just be a bit patient and let us as government look at the best possible way to access the Southeast.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, what one school got involved in on the occasion of Earth Day. Thank you for staying with us. Advice for Dominica to focus more on protection of its marine life, as there are economic possibilities in that area.
The ocean is being viewed as an emerging area for economic development. A national oceanic policy will better position the country to take advantage of the blue economy. This speaks to marine-based economic development while reducing environmental risks. That's the thinking of Dr. Asha Singh, the woman in charge of the Ocean Governance Unit at the OECS Commission. Her unit supports OECS states in sustainable management of their marine environment.
So the OECS has been aggressively putting measures in place to ensure that our member states have the framework to harness those resources And over the last 2 years, we have now developed an Eastern Caribbean Regional Ocean Policy that drives the work we do in oceans. We're progressing on maritime boundary delimitation, but also other activities in terms of better articulating the blue economy, and at the same time dealing with the many pressures, for example, climate change, ocean acidification, sea level rise, and also greater ecosystem protection.
All OECS states have ratified the United Nations Convention on Law of the Sea, giving them the rights to develop and manage their marine resources.
Dominica, like all of our member states, do have tremendous resources, but like the other member states, Dominica has been doing quite of their main resources that have been exploited are mainly the fisheries. So we're hoping that the conversation starts to change for us to see the other resources that may stand potential for greater exploitation. Dominica is in the process of hopefully that we are able to develop a national ocean policy for Dominica as well, and hopefully that this can progress and that we can utilize the resources. But Dominica has tremendous potential for utilizing its ocean resources, and hopefully that we can start putting measures in place to promote that.
The Director of Telecommunications says laws will have to be redefined to strengthen the justice system's hand at prosecuting people accused of using the internet to defame someone. Bennett Thomas was responding to a question regarding the intentional circulation of nude footage of someone via the internet.
There is nothing specific as yet, but some of the legislation have those definitions. And what the meeting that we had in St. Lucia looked at some of those areas that we're going to look to. The Council of Europe is going to redefine the whole process of our laws to see whether it is in conformity with what is called the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime. So all of those are holistic things that has to be done. But at this time, I don't think we have a full legislation to govern every aspect of that, because this is an ongoing issue. But we are hoping that this shouldn't be a problem pretty soon.
Plans are also underway to set up a computer security incident response team, which will be tasked to receive reports of hacking of computer systems locally.
The OAS has had a number of workshops on forensic analysis. We had persons from Estonia sometime in 2015 who came here to work with us with the police on those kind of things. So we have put a number of things in place already. We haven't completed that because it's an ongoing process. We are planning to establish what is known as a computer incident response team, a CIRT, which is like an organization of persons that are going to look at the whole cybersecurity agenda in Dominica, for which I am the chairperson for that. So we are putting things in place.
And staff and pupils of the Newtown Primary School have embarked on a mission to make their immediate environment or surroundings environmentally friendly.
This was the aim of a tree planting project on Friday. 2 bouquet plants and 22 palm trees were planted on the compound.
Trees are very important because, one, trees use carbon dioxide to make their food, and carbon dioxide is one of the gases that's causing what we call global warming. And so trees are important to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Trees are also important because they are a source of food. Many times people plant trees and they just forget about it. Very commonplace. And make sure that you take care of the plants after they have been planted. Otherwise, all the effort into planting would have been wasted.
This activity formed part of Dominica's recognition of Earth Day on Friday.
See, the trees help make Dominica nice and green. The trees will help your yard look nice and on point. The trees will, not these palms, but the other trees that can produce food. So all these nice things make Dominica all the more beautiful, and that's one reason why we should protect the trees and plant the trees. The best part is we're going to get some more oxygen from that tree. So all the trees we plant there will give us more oxygen, make you breathe better, make you think better. I'm not a doctor, but the doctors tell you if you go to the hospital, no oxygen in your blood, you're going to die. Oxygen is polluted, you will still die. It will poison your blood. So good, clean oxygen, the trees will give you that.
Earth Day is an annual event celebrated on 22nd April, during which events are held to demonstrate support for environmental protection. Among the other activities of Earth Day was the signing of the landmark Paris Agreement in New York by over 120 countries. This signing satisfies a key requirement for the historic draft Climate Protection Treaty adopted by 195 nations at the 2015 United Nations Climate Change Conference in Paris. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
28 people involved in the business support organizations around the country are now better equipped on how to seek and acquire financial assistance from funding agencies. That was the aim of a three-day workshop titled Management for Development Results. The workshop focused on those involved with micro, small and medium-sized enterprises.
The MFDR concept was developed to satisfy the banks and donor agencies with evidence that public funds have led to sustainable results, that transparency and sustainability are enhanced through emphasizing outcomes and higher level change and the need for evidence of change, to enable identification of what works and what does not work, lesson learning to inform planning and improved outcomes.
Participants were equipped with key knowledge and understanding of key MFR tools based on international practice.
It is hoped that the vision of the Caribbean Development Bank, the donor agencies and the aid bank will be realized to the extent that the country produces projects which have sustainable results and will contribute to the achievement of its developmental goals.
The Caribbean Technological Consultancy Services, CTCS, a network operated by the Caribbean Development Bank, played a key role in this three-day workshop. That's news. We now join Kenny Williams with your sports highlights.
Hello everyone and thanks for joining us. First up, there were wins for Bathurst State Football Club and Haitian Angels in Thursday's edition of the DFA All-Island League. Bathurst State defeated Times Ballers Signman Middleham United 4-2 in the first match of a doubleheader at the Newtown playing field. Khalil Toulon, Eustace Marshall, Denzel Lawrence and Jeremiah Timothy scored for Bathurst State. Cameron Aaron and Kyron John Lewis netted for Middleham United. In the second match, Haitian Angels defeated Dalis White River Ballers 4-0. Walson Wally, Watson BMA, Mark Donny Delis and Stevenson Linden scored for Haitian Angels. Meantime, in weekend games.
On Saturday, Club Blue Bear will come up against South City All-Stars at the Pori playing field at 3 p.m. While at the Castle Bruce playing field, it will be East Central Young Boys versus Kalibishi also at 3 p.m. And at the Newtown playing field, Digicel Newtown Juvenile Academy Harlem United will battle Delton United at 5:30 p.m. While at the Benjamin Park, it will be Wood City Strikers versus Buster Warner at 3 p.m. Meanwhile, in the Domlec Women's League on Sunday, defending champions New India Goodwill Runners will take on Bomber Starlights at the Newtown playing field. While at the Teaser Grounds in Maho, it will be Maho Soka Strikers versus Wood City Strikers. Both matches begin at 3 p.m.
In cricket, the Dominica Cricket Association will continue its matches on the weekend with games in the Premier and Intermediate Leagues. Playing in the Premier Division will be Dominica Cricket Association Academy versus Nagico Northern Stars at Portsmouth, Desiderata Tremors and Marino Blasters at Botanic Gardens, and at Windsor Park it will be Dublin United and Granby Colts in bat and ball action. Those games run from Saturday into Sunday. Meantime, in the intermediate round, Starlight Sports Club will do battle with Galileo Hurricanes, while Marino Blasters will be hoping to outperform Sagico General Somerset. Both games are down for play at Dublin. The weekend games begin at 10 a.m. Basketball action takes us to Massac as the Fashion Line Falcons continued their winning streak and Kyrie FM Old School registered another win in the 2016 Flow DABA League on Thursday. Falcons dominated their game with a convincing 38-point lead when they had Jay's Limited Sonics 96-58 in full time. Kijwan Thomas was Falcons' top scorer with 24 points, 11 rebounds and 10 assists. J.V. Bellot added 17, Peter Ricketts and Edmund Williams Jr. 15, and Ramal Carbon 14. Scoring for Sonics, Leon Lawrence got 13 points with 11 rebounds, and Alaric Rivera 11 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. Meantime, in the other match, Carrie FM Old School defeated Ronald Charles and Willie Barbershop All-Stars 60-45. Bert Benjamin scored 22 for Old School, while Earl George got the most for Barbershop with 16. And in scheduled matches on the weekend, Fashion Line Falcons and LA Knights will clash in a Division 1 match from 7. E.H. Charles Crossovers and Signman X-Men will do battle at 9. Both matches are down for Lindo Park on Saturday. Then the action moves to Massac on Sunday, where Detroit Blazers will be hoping to outdo Willie Barbershop All-Stars in a Division 1 encounter at 7. Fast Cash Prowlers and Eagles will close off Sunday's games at 9. Back on the local cricket scene, the Big Edge Gifford 2-set softball championship will have 2 matches on Sunday. In Game 1, Stuco Construction Hammers will come up against Kalinago Territory at the Castlebruce playing field at 1 p.m. In the second game, Cornells will be looking to maintain their unbeaten record when they face the Pitted Savant Softball Club at 2 p.m. at Lindo Park. Meantime, in the previous matches, Woti Challengers defeated Stuco Construction Hammers by 49 runs. Final scores: Woti 112 all-out in 13.1 overs, Hammers 63 all-out. And Cornell Sports Club handed down a 35-run defeat to the Kalinago Territory. Final game scores: Cornells 175 for 8, Kalinago Territory 140. On to international cricket. The efforts of A.B. de Villiers 83 and Virat Kohli 80 helped put Royal Challengers Bangalore in the lead when they beat Rising Pune Supergiants by 13 runs in the 2016 Indian Premier League on Friday. RCB batted first and scored 185 for 3. Thisara Perera took 3 for 34 for Supergiants. Set 186 for victory, RPS posted 172 for 8. Kane Richardson picked up 3 for 13 and Shane Watson 2 for 31 for Royal Challengers Bangalore. Still in sports, the 2016 Big Edge Financial Express Netball League continues on the weekend. On Saturday, the action begins at Portsmouth between Sparts and Northern Contractors Limited Portsmouth Secondary at 3, followed by Portsmouth Breakers versus Cocoa Town Cafe Portsmouth Secondary at 4:30. Meantime, the playoffs kick off on Sunday, where New India Assurance Celtic will take on Wesley in a Division 1 category. The second division teams competing in the playoffs will be determined after Saturday's games in Portsmouth. Sunday's games are carded for the Dominica Grammar School Hardcourt at 4:30. In some more cricket, the 2016 First Domestic Insurance Secondary Schools Under-15 Cricket Championships continued Friday at 2 venues. At Benjamin's Park, Portsmouth Secondary won by an innings and 8 runs over the Isaiah Thomas Secondary. ITSS First at the crease scored 53 all-out. Curveland John 15, Jed Joseph took 4 for 5, Jade Roye 2 for 16 and Hassan Bethelme 2 for 15. TSS replied with 108 all-out, Clemenson Libla 42 and Shamar Felicite 40. Jeremiah Joseph took 2 for 53. ITSS in their second innings scored 47 all-out. Hassan Bethelme took 2 for 11, Jade Roye 2 for 8 and Jed Joseph 2 for 12. Meantime, at Castlebruce, the game between Northeast Comprehensive and Castlebruce Secondary ended in a draw, but Castlebruce won on first inning decisions. CBSS batted first and scored 218 for 7. Dion Williams, the national under-15 player, scored 118. Starl Serafine 31 and Adija Benjamin 22 not out. For NECS, Michael Ogis took 2 for 23 in 5 overs and Jamail Rossi 2 for 61. NECS in reply were bowled out for 46 in 19.1 overs. Dion Burton 14 and Stephen George 11. Romeo Burton picked up 3 for 6, Dion Williams 2 for 11 and Jassy Abbott 2 for 16. NECS sent in to bat were 44 without loss, Edgar Alexander 28 not out and Daquan Jikes 13 not out. Finally in sports, 5 matches are lined up for play in the 2016 Flow DAVA League on the weekend. On Saturday, Signman Celtics will take on Breakers in the women's match at 5, while at 6:30, Del Naje Celtics will play against Breakers in the men's Division 1 category. Those games are down for Portsmouth. Meantime, on Sunday, the action moves to Marigot, where MCCU Sunrise and Flow Strike Force will do battle at 4 in the women's category. And MCCU Sunrise and Flow Wolfpack will play in the men's Division 2 and 1 encounters at 6 and 8 p.m. respectively. Those matches will play at Marigot. That's all the time for sports. I am Kenny Williams. Have an awesome weekend.
Your weather report is next.
Good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am Janelle Macpherson. A high-pressure system today was the dominant feature, which resulted in generally fair to partly cloudy skies across most of the region today, except for the extreme southern portion of the islands. Visible satellite imagery indicated some mixed clouds across Dominica. As a result, partly cloudy skies were observed. Radar imagery indicated some spotty showers across parts of the islands. The weather for tonight is expected to be fair to partly cloudy and breezy with a few scattered showers. Tomorrow, expect fair to partly cloudy skies, hazy and breezy conditions with some brief scattered showers. Seas tomorrow are expected to be moderate with waves peaking up to 7 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers, particularly on the eastern coasts, are advised to exercise caution. Looking ahead for the next few days, a relatively dry and stable atmosphere will result in fair to partly cloudy skies, hazy and breezy conditions with a few brief scattered showers. Across the Caribbean tomorrow, similar conditions can be expected, fair to partly cloudy skies with some brief scattered showers. On the international cities forecast, rain and partly cloudy skies in New York, fair weather in Miami and Beijing, cloudy skies in London, possible thunderstorm activity in Caracas. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:46 a.m. and set at 6:22 p.m. For up-to-date weather information, please visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for viewing and have a good weekend.
To end the news, the headlines again. Groundbreaking for an $18.2 million West Bridge signals the start of long-term transformation for the city. Dominica joins 170 countries to sign the COP21 Paris Agreement on climate change. And protecting its marine life could mean economic possibilities for the country. Feel free to contact us at news@mapping2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube page. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. And to our viewers around the world, thanks for watching. Do have a great weekend.